We're on the record.
We are on the record in the Lovelady matter, case D19-593140D. Please confirm your appearances.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Go ahead.
R10511 on behalf of the plaintiff, Jessica Lovelady, who is present by blue jeans.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry for interrupting Audrey. Your Honor, Louis Schneider, on behalf of Mike Lovelady, Judge. And I don't, he's not present, Judge. For some reason, it didn't get counted in my office, and I owe Audrey for giving me a heads up to get online. And so he's not here, Judge. He's currently working.
Okay. Can I see Ms. Hauser?
Good morning, Your Honor. Michelle Hauser, JAL, bar number 7738. I didn't get the stipend order because the court filed it, so thankfully Audrey texted me. I apologize for my lovely firefighter wear this morning.
No. No worries.
It's cool. It's from Duck Creek. I went to Duck Creek over the weekend, so.
No, it's good to see everyone. And Ms. Beeson, I think, was the one that was on top of all of this because we didn't even show it on our calendar. It had not been added, so it was a late add, but it was set as a status check. So I wanted to address this matter first and find out what is the status of counseling at this point in time.
Your Honor, I've met with Abby, and she has done a lot better with Mom. And Mom did do the sober link as I requested, and she's tested negative. I get the reports like with SoberLink. I don't know if the court gets these reports, but I get them way too often. I get a million reports. The only main issue is scheduling another appointment for Abby. When we've attempted to contact Mr. Lovelady, his response was, well, let me talk to Abby. I got to check her schedule and see her availability, which he's the parent. He needs to schedule it. And the problem mainly comes with me having a follow-up appointment is I have a lot of JAL cases, and with all the kids back in school, 3:30 every day is like a chaotic day. Everybody wants 3:30s. So I can't wait to base my meeting with Abby around Abby's schedule. Like, I understand she's got extracurriculars. They're super important, but 3:30 with 20 cases in JAL land, guess what? Everybody wants the 3:30 after school. So I would encourage Mr. Schneider to talk to his client and explain to him, like, he's the parent, he's the adult, he's got to schedule it. And Abby may, just like when you got to go to the dentist, you get pulled out of school, you may miss extracurricular. This is kind of like the same concept because I don't have a lot of 3:30s with all the JAL kids. And beyond that, I do have one scheduled for Thursday, and hopefully we can increase it. I want to check Abby's comfort level, but I think we should be able to increase it to maybe one overnight would be where we're at.
Okay.
With Mom. Because she's done really well so far.
Okay. All right, Ms. Beeson?
Yes, Judge. My client has reported the same to me, that the visits are going well, that there are no issues. I understand that we're trying to gauge Abby's comfort level, but again, I would state at this point that there is no reason why my client shouldn't have her custodial timeshare. I don't think that Dad is supportive of the relationship, and Ms. Hauser's comments right there about, well, I've got to check Abby's schedule. The theme throughout this case has been Dad relies on Abby for everything. So she seems to be more of the parental figure than Dad is. If the court is inclined to allow the visitation to slowly increase, then that's the court's desire. But I just don't see any issue preventing my client from exercising her custodial timeshare at this point.
Mr. Schneider?
Judge, Michelle asked me to, speak to my client and get some more cooperation and encourage these visits with Mom. I've done that, and he's done that. But my client is very soft-spoken. He's not confrontational whatsoever. I don't think it's fair to say that, Abby's running the show. It's just that he's a busy guy, and Abby has a lot of things going on. I will speak to him, as Ms. Hauser has asked me to do, to make these appointments. But for the most part, I believe that it was Yvonne Hart who was calling the ball on these visitations and how often they were going to be. Now, I've stayed out of it. I've never spoken to Yvonne Hart. I don't ask Michelle what's going on. I have stayed out of it because I believe that that's what not only Michelle's preference is, but it's the court's preference for the attorneys not to get in there and do that. So I will speak to him about making her more available, but just to say, just because he said I got to check with Abby doesn't mean that she's running the show by any stretch, Judge. I will make a turn in the right direction with my client. I'll speak to him today, and I apologize that I haven't had a chance to speak to him before this because I did not have this on my calendar. And you're right, Miss Beeson was the one that texted me and Miss Hauser and got this together. I'm appreciative of that, Judge.
Okay. All right. Well, I do feel like there at least has been some progress. I don't think we're certainly not at the point where we need to be at the finality of all of this. The question I have, and so my directive is that we continue on the path that we're on, that we gradually increase the time, that we continue going down that path. And my question to all sides is, I don't have a problem keeping tabs on this rather than just letting things go. So if you want some type of a status check, I'm happy to accommodate that, recognizing we're not quite there yet. What is your desire?
Your Honor, I would say a status check would be helpful. I do agree with Mr. Snyder that his client is more soft-spoken, but he still has to provide guidelines
Right.
and discipline and structure. And it is oftentimes, let me check with Abby. Well, all kids, Abby's super busy, I get it, all kids are, but it's his job as the parent to say, no, you've got to go meet with Michelle. I just don't have a lot of availability to do like a JAL interview at 5 o'clock. One, that's bad for kids because they're tired and they don't want to talk.
Right.
They just don't want to talk.
No,
But he's got to provide that discipline. I would like to see a status check because if my memory is correct, and counsel, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I don't think there's a holiday plan for Christmas. Thanksgiving, we can probably work on the council, but Christmas is a more up and coming event, and Mom needs to have more time, and I'm very cognitive of this, and Dad needs to be supportive, like Abby, Mom can take Abby to events and things for school. And let's not forget, Your Honor, Dr. Hart we discontinued because I was concerned. Dr. Hart had I don't know if the role was explained well from her, so she was taking what Abby and Dad said and saying, well, Mom's the problem, but then Mom has other information that shows that sometimes Abby is skewing the information provided by Dr. Hart to Dr. Hart. Like there were these text messages where Mom allegedly sent a dead vegetable, I think it was a carrot, but when you look at the full string that Mom provided me, Mom was trying to talk to Abby, like, look, I've got a garden at home. My first vegetable was not very pretty. Sorry, Miss Lovelady, it wasn't very pretty. But Abby's not reporting the prior context. She's just saying, why did Mom send me a picture of this rotted carrot without the context of her mom trying to say, hey, look, I've got a vegetable garden. Yeah, there was a rotted apple or whatever the vegetable was. So we stopped it, and I think we should continue to stop it because Abby's doing well, and I don't know if there was a lot between Abby and Mr. Lovelady providing information to Dr. Hart, who wasn't confirming that information with Miss Lovelady to find out, okay, really what is the center problem. So I think right now we don't need Dr. Hart. I think Abby's doing well, and I have an appointment with her scheduled for Thursday. So I'll be able to talk to Abby, and my goal, unless I see something catastrophic, is it should start this weekend with one overnight, and we just got to figure out from Miss Lovelady when she's available.
Okay. All right. Ms. Beeson, what's your preference as to how we proceed?
My preference would also be to set it for a status check, Judge. And if I'm sure the court recalls, my client had no holidays last year. I know she was able to go see Abby and bring her presents for Christmas. But, the holiday schedule that we had previously agreed to is not in effect because of the reunification therapy
Right.
now, which is progressing through the GAL.
Right. And Mr. Schneider, what's your preference?
Oh, Judge, I don't know. I guess I don't like how it's being couched that, there's obviously was some friction between Abby and her mother, and I don't know that my client's to blame for that. And so, I think, I don't know. I mean, who's going to be advocating for Abby? If Abby wants to do these overnights, I'm all for it. And I certainly don't mind having a status check, but someone needs to speak for Abby and not just, who's advocating for Abby? We don't have Dr. Hart anymore. Who's going to deal with that? And I don't think I don't know what Abby's preference is. I don't know what Abby wants to do.
Well,
I've told my client to stay out of discussing that with her.
yeah, listen, I believe part of that is there's advocacy as much as I'm getting a report from Ms. Hauser as the guardian ad litem. That's really where it falls into advocacy, but it's from the standpoint that part of the function that I've placed on Ms. Hauser's shoulders is to serve somewhat in a best interest position and filter through the reasons and the bases as to why Abby is functioning the way she does. Listen, I think at the end of all of this, both adult figures, mom and dad, have to buy into this. They are the adults. Abby is a child, and so the goal of the court, as I'm statutorily mandated to do, is to build her relationship with both mom and dad. And so my goal is to return to that schedule that the parties previously have mediated. I haven't minded going at a gradual pace. At the end of this, at some point, maybe I just rip the Band-Aid off, so to speak, and we go. I'm not inclined to do that yet. I may get to that point, but I'm not going to do it yet because I feel like there has been progress. Perhaps at that time when I don't feel like progress is being made, maybe that's where I just rip the Band-Aid off and say go. But I'm willing, and I appreciate the involvement of Ms. Hauser in trying to work this in a way that is gradual. I think that's beneficial to Abby. But both mom and dad need to buy into this. So I can set something out. How far out do you want it set? Some type of status check.
Yeah, I think like sometime at the end of November, maybe December, so we can address Christmas. And to follow up with Your Honor, with what you just said, I think that's the problem we have with what Mr. Schneider said is, well, what does Abby want to do? And that's the problem we're having is sometimes saying nothing, you're supporting a child's position. It's dad's job. Abby doesn't get to decide when she goes to school. So, I mean, you have to have structure. And Mr. Lovelady is quiet and he doesn't say a lot, but sometimes that's reinforcing the negative thought process.
Michelle, I'm with you. I understand everything and agree with what you're saying, but you've told me to ease back on Mike and not have him too involved with Abby. So when you asked me to give it a push, and I said, Mike, you have to encourage Abby to continue to see her mom. He's done that, and she's done that. So I will do it again. But I'd like you to meet with Abby a few times before. How many times do you want to meet with her before November?
No,
Well, it is November 1st.
I have a meeting Thursday. She needs to see her mom, Mr. Schneider, and your client needs to understand that.
All right, I'm looking at December
Saying
15th.
she doesn't.
December 15th at 11. Does that date and time work?
Sure.
That works for me, Judge.
That works for me, Your Honor.
Okay. So that'll be a status check regarding reunification, December 15th at 11. Are the minutes sufficient for today?
Yes,
I
Judge.
believe so.
Okay. All right, thank you for your appearances.
All right, thank you. Thanks again, Audrey.
No problem.
Thank you.